This is the 5 Point Play Podcast, the Die-Hard Duke Basketball Fans Podcast. We are back. Yeah, Jack's got the Brotherhood sweatshirt. Love that. Pop's got all kinds of new pajamas for him and his granddaughter. I need to get me a pair of those. I do. So, um, we got a little bit of a lull here. This is that kind of that typical holiday season lull for all Duke fans. And um, Jack, the social media mogul, still yet to be determined. Louis Dunn's boyfriend, Coach P. P stands for Paul, as everybody knows that. AC is out working tonight. He also knows that our next opponent is George Mason, who lives right around the corner from him. So he didn't
It's
want to have a
AC's
conflict.
team.
He didn't want to have a conflict of interest. And D's out doing some Christmas shopping. So we got the 3-man weave tonight with your boy TK. Honestly, not a whole lot to take away from the Incarnate World game. I think that was one of
Word.
those. What?
Incarnate Word.
Word. Here we go. PK as usual. What I wanted to basically say is like, what in the Incarnate Word happened in that first half? I don't know. Like it was, but I also kind of thought perhaps that, um, you know, you have 4 or 5 games with top level teams. You don't have the camera crazies there. They were able to get. They were able to do football news. They were able to get the #1 transfer quarterback out of the portal, out of Tulane. So that was huge.
Darian Mensah.
So yeah, so that was huge. I mean, he is, by the way, Jack.
Pause.
Maybe his first pause of the night. Coming in here at 2 minutes into the game. But Jack, by the way, you probably do football a lot. Diaz clearly had a plan with Malik entering the transfer portal, and then announced for Duke like 24 hours later. He obviously had a plan going on.
I can't necessarily speak to Duke football nearly as much as Duke basketball. From what I heard, though, Malik planning to hit the portal was not a new development. Grayson Loftus was the bigger development. Him going into the portal,
Yeah,
was what indicated to me because Mensah. He's visiting campus, and immediately as I hear that, I hear Grayson Loftus is going into the portal. That's QB2 for Duke for those who don't know. I guess it
I was about to
was
ask you. I was
QB2.
about to say, who the fuck is that? But okay.
So Grayson Loftus was
yeah.
the third string last year as a true freshman. Had an incredible stretch of games after Riley Leonard and Henry Beelan both got hurt. So Henry Beelan's probably going to be the quarterback for Duke in the bowl game, which is coming up in a few weeks. But as soon as I heard that Loftus was going in the portal, I knew Manny Diaz had something up his sleeve. And a friend of mine was actually sitting right behind Mensah at the Incarnate Word game. Sent me a picture, and I look, and I'm like, that's the Tulane quarterback in the portal right in front of you.
Yeah.
And then I saw a picture of Mensah from the other side. I'm like, right behind him. I'm like, that's my guy. That's my college roommate right there, directly behind him. It was really funny. But yeah, that's a huge get. He's got 3 years of eligibility, and from what I heard, the NIL has him locked in. The NIL deal has him locked in for multiple seasons at Duke.
Yeah, that's the same thing I heard. It was kind of funny that I now have Duke football insider access. I have no idea how that happened, but
it's hilarious because you're not even a Duke football guy.
No, well, I mean, I root for him for sure, but
of course,
it's not like die hard thing like Duke basketball.
It's
but
your secondary team in football.
And so what I like to hear is though that how it all transpired. It was so funny when Malik Murphy went into the portal. I'm getting text blowing up my phone, be like, they didn't have the money to pay him, yada yada yada.
Well, they did.
Loftus is the guy. 10 minutes after that, he's like, Diaz has a plan. And Loftus comes into the portal like 5 seconds after that. And then it was like, okay, then you see, Mention's coming into Duke, official visit, and it was over. It was so quick how it all happened, and credit to Diaz. And it's the reason we're talking about this is a Duke Basketball Fans podcast, because this only helps Duke athletics. You having a good football program is good for Duke basketball and all of Duke athletics. And then
Yeah.
the changing landscape of how all these things work, like you have to have a competent, at minimum, football program to sustain everything else. Even though Duke basketball program sustains everything for Duke, you need that football program to be at least competent, and I think that Manny Diaz is absolutely doing that for Duke, and I think that's huge, Jack.
Yeah,
And
I mean, last
Incarnate Word.
before we move on to Incarnate Word, I just want to say I had the opportunity to speak with Nina King last winter at a Duke event, and obviously just said like I was incredibly impressed with how quickly the coaching search went with Diaz and just how good of a hire it was coming from an area where everyone here loves Penn State. I had so many people telling me basically immediately how sad they were to be losing him. And I told her that, and she said, we at Duke are fully committed to having an elite football program as well as an elite basketball program. Like, why not both? Why can't Duke be a really good football school too? Honestly,
Yeah.
it's important.
Honestly,
I got a question.
yeah,
I fucking hate football, by the way, but is Manny Diaz like a really good coach, or
great coach.
he seems to be a really good coach, or is it
And not only
like
that,
just
I
like
think
a
more than
fluke
that,
or what?
Pops. No,
This is
I
not
think
a
more than
fluke.
that. It's not a fluke, by any stretch of the imagination. But I think more than that, and more importantly for Duke and Duke fans, is that he's bought in. Like he
Mm,
embraced everything, and I think that that's what is really the huge thing. Um, I think that that's what it comes down to for a program like Duke. Like you look at Duke, they're not a football program or a school. Uh, yeah, we've had flashes in the pan in the past, but when it comes down to you want a coach that's not looking for the next opportunity, which
mhm.
I always thought that Duke was, is stepping stone to something bigger. And to be fair, like I could be wrong on this, and Manny may leave next year, but at the same time, he seems bought in, and I think that that's a huge thing for Duke and Jack. I'll give you the last word on that before we switch to basketball.
Yeah, I mean, with the previous guy, he said I'm fully committed. I will be at Duke next year. And 24 hours later, less than that, he was on a plane to College Station, Texas. Um, Manny, even if Manny leaves next year, I will harbor no ill will toward him, so long as he doesn't say I will be at Duke next year and then dip 5 minutes later. Like I don't I'm mad at Mike Elko still because that's just a crappy way to go about it. And I'm incredibly grateful for Manny Diaz. Like my dad was at Duke when Spurrier was the coach, and when Spurrier left, he left for his alma mater. He was very there was a press conference at Duke. He was like, "Look, I'm leaving to go coach, like have a chance to coach at my alma mater. I'll always be grateful to Duke." And like his whole family is still incredibly involved with Duke, and he is still involved with Duke, which is incredible.
Spurrier, the old
Whereas
Florida
it's
coach.
Old
yeah,
ball coach, old ball
he was
coach.
at Duke. He was at Duke before Florida.
Fuck, that tells you how much I know about football.
But yeah, now I mean, like to Jack's point
Just
though, those guys. If you Jack, if you leave for your alma mater, I'm never gonna harbor any ill will towards you. That's your school.
exactly. And the way he went about it was a lot more graceful. It's not like he promised everyone that he was going to stay and then suddenly left like everyone just like with nothing. Whereas that's exactly what Elko did.
Elko did, hundred
I mean,
percent.
Elko did sign an extension before leaving, which yeah, it's whatever. Like, who cares? I
Yeah,
really thought that
like
I thought
Jack
he
said,
was here to stay.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just
we'll
happy for
close.
Manny Diaz. Let's
Well,
close the door on that and talk about basketball.
I got a
I know
final
Pablo
statement
really
before
wants to.
go ahead,
final
Bob.
statement before we close it out. Fuck you, Elko, and we can move on.
All right, Pops. Okay, so what in the incarnate word happened in that first half? But obviously more than that though. You know, I don't take away much from some of these games. When you're playing a team like that, and even George Mason. Like I think these a chance for us to kick off a little bit more rust, after having a long time off. I don't read into a lot of these games. I know that, there's a lot of clickbait out there, and you get involved in it with calling people out for it. But kind of tell the people to not fall for it, not fall for the clickbait, stop feeding,
Yeah.
as I call it, feeding the trolls.
Yeah.
Don't get the
So,
trolls.
and that's the thing, man. I mean, every team is going to have a game where they just look crazy, and it's going to be against inferior competition. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna come in and they're gonna be hyped up and shit. Who knows how many lines of coke or some shit they did before they came to the game, and they're pumped up. They got the adrenaline going. You know what I'm saying? They're hooping. They hit some shots and they're like, hey, we in it. They get more confident as the game goes when if they're able to keep the game close. Duke's offense looked really really stagnant. We missed a ton of shots, man, and this was one of those games, man, that like even me, and I'm like a fierce Duke defender and like of like our offense and like Shire and everything. Even I started for a minute, started to like my mind started to stray a little bit where I was like, you know what, maybe we need to do something different as far as you know, like game planning, like coaching the offense, right? Is what I'm saying. Right. In my opinion, and I am still with, I'm saying, this opinion. And I think what we need to do is we need to go out and get one of these incredibly gifted offensive coaches. I mean, we have another fucking spot on the bench, you know what I'm saying? Get one of these incredibly offensive gifted coaches. We got so many coaches in the NBA, Duke guys, you know what I'm saying, that could help Duke. You know what I'm saying? We get Quinn Snyder, we get fucking Chris Collins, you know what I'm saying? Like take him away from where's he at, Northwestern or
Yeah.
some shit. Yeah, I mean he'd be an excellent assistant, you know what I'm saying? Just to coach the offense, you know what I'm saying? Just to open the offense up a little bit more. Because I feel like we're relying on talent instead of really putting these guys in the best position to be successful. You know what I'm saying? Like we have too many guys out, but it's all to credit John Shire. I think the offense does at the same time, it does look good. And sometimes we do get stagnant, but all that is cured if you make shots. And I think that's just what we haven't been doing a lot is just making shots at a very high level, like how we thought we would. So hopefully we can start doing that, and I think we'll be good. But I do think that it might be time to defer to someone else as far as like on the offense. Like obviously Shire's going to be the coach, you know what I'm saying? But it's nothing wrong with bringing somebody in over the summer and really putting a system in that'll really help these guys and put these guys in the best position to win ball games. You know what I'm saying? Like easily, you know what I mean? Because with all that talent, we should be blowing the doors off teams, bro. Even I'm talking about the best of the best teams. You know what I'm saying? We should be killing these teams. You know what I'm saying? We should never get up, you know, 12 points like in the Kentucky game, start smacking them and they climb back into the game because, our offense gets stagnant. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like when that stuff happens, it's like we don't get any easy shots, especially when the games we get up big and then, the other team gets the momentum. They start making a run on us. Well, it seems like we don't never come out from a ATO, like after timeout where we call some shit where we know we're going to get a good shot or a good, you know what I mean? It always seems like it's a struggle. And then I just don't feel like at times we're not going to be successful in that. And I just don't want us to run into a situation to where we run into a buzzsaw, man. And we do that at the wrong time. And when it's a single game elimination tournament where it's like, okay, now you're done. You know what I'm saying? So, but overall, I'm still very confident. I think we can win the national championship with what we got and what we do. We just got to make some shots.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I mean, I can't really disagree with that last statement, especially shot making's important. I mean, I'm looking at the box score for the Incarnate Word game right now, and box score obviously doesn't tell all. But just seeing a lot of guys shooting below 50%, like some significantly, like seeing 3 starters shooting 2 for 8. Sorry, 4 starters, 2 for 8, 2 for 6, 1 for 6, 2 for 7, and then Khaman going 6 for 7, which was incredible. Shout out to him. He had an amazing second half, amazing game. But when the other 4 starters are combining to shoot, what is that? Really badly. I'm not gonna do all the math right now. that was really like it's not a good showing. Evans had a good like last few minutes, ended with 14 points. We had 3 guys in double figures. Like, okay, I'm not gonna complain about that, but the percentages need to be better. Duke shot 32% from 3 and below 44% from the field. Shot making is important. Having an offense that you can go to when things aren't working is important. And just, I don't know if I don't know if the issue is the offense necessarily. I think it's the shot selection is just like, there have been stretches where Duke has just offensive rebound, kick out 3, offensive rebound, kick out 3, offensive rebound, kick out 3 repeatedly when it's clear that the shots have not been falling. And
But we're
maybe if
missing a
we
lot
want
of
to
open
see,
shots, though.
that's the big deal. The selection, the selection doesn't change based on that, though, for some of these guys. And that is troublesome to me. Like, if you're not hitting from outside, unless you're like Jared McCain levels of confident and able to forget about things, that's going to mess with you.
Yeah.
And, maybe take something a little closer to the hoop. I'm a little sick of watching this team brick 3 after 3, long 2 after long 2 when you have I'm gonna start to sound like one of those fans on Facebook complaining about everything. But I am a little sick of seeing these long jump shots that keep not going in and they don't even look to the interior when they're the tallest team in the country. They'll have a height advantage over literally anyone. It's just a
Yeah.
little annoying sometimes. I see where these people are coming from when they complain about that.
Yeah, they just don't complain the right way, I feel like. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, their
Yeah,
complaints
I do.
are just like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of saying like, "Oh, why don't we drive the basketball?" They'd be like, "Oh my God, I cannot believe John Shire. He needs to be fucking replaced." And I'm like,
Why
I
is
didn't know
he
John
letting them
Shire was
shoot all
shooting
these
a jump shot,
threes?
but okay.
Yeah,
So
John Shire had a good jump shot. Probably still a
yeah,
better jump shot than some of the guys on the team.
sure. But yeah,
But
I think we'll turn the corner though.
yeah,
I think
I'm
we'll
not
turn the corner.
I'm
So
not stressed
I think
yet.
we
It's early.
so I think that we got a little spoiled when we saw our team against Arizona State in the exhibition and got. I mean, we just lit it up, But it also showed what the team is capable of. So like when I see Tyrese Proctor in a throwaway game go 1 of 5 from 3, Sion goes 0 of 1, Cooper goes 0 of 3, um, Caleb, who I am a little tiny bit concerned about, goes 0 for 1. Mason, I'm definitely concerned about him going 0 for 3 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. Yeah, those are things that I'm concerned about. But the latter part. But the Tyrese Proctor, I'm not concerned about. I'm not really concerned about Sion because he doesn't really take a lot of threes. He's a guy that looks to drive the ball. Caleb, I'm not concerned about the 0 for 1. I'm concerned about the 1 for 6. I'm concerned about him driving and taking much harder, more difficult shots than he needs to take at when he drives into the lane. Those are the things I'm worried about. But to Pablo's point earlier, and this is kind of what I want to throw back to you, Pops,
Hey
is
yo, pause.
all right, fair enough, Paul. So that's 2. But anyway, so what I wanted to bring up though is something that you brought up about one. You acknowledged that they're good shots.
Yeah.
Do you think one that we don't have the right players to shoot those shots, or is it an offensive scheme thing? To your point laterally, where you said that we need a different offensive mind coming in to potentially help us boost the offense.
Nah,
To me,
so
it can't be both.
yeah, I, I'm a if you're open, take the shot type of dude. You know what I'm saying? And so and that's the thing is everybody who's shooting these shots are more than capable of hitting them. They just got to hit the fucking shots. That's all it come down to. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're bad shots. It's not like guys. It's like okay, I'm open. Maybe he shouldn't shoot that one. Nah, all the guys we got in the game should shoot those shots. I don't think there's anybody on a roster where they're getting ready to shoot the ball. Where I'm like, no, I don't think we have that. type of dude. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you
I
guys
think
see
there's
anybody?
I think there's two guys, in my opinion. And
Okay.
Jack, I'll give you a chance to rebut this as well. So my two are Sion from anywhere other than the wings on top of the key, and Mason Gillis anywhere but the corners.
So Sion
Uh,
in the corner and Gillis outside the corner.
yeah, yeah. So Jack, are you with me on that? I don't know what the numbers. They may not back me up.
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head or in front of me, but with Gillis, I think top of the key, he's also pretty good. But I mean, it's like Jack White. It's like Jack White before the Syracuse game.
I was
He
at that Syracuse
is.
game.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, me too.
It's like knocked down in the corners and at the top of the key, but elsewhere not really a great shooter.
Yeah.
Hopefully that the rest of the Jack White trend doesn't continue there. But
I think
I
the
see
break.
that with. I mean, it already kind of is with Mace, but
I was going to say, I think the break is probably going to do Mason well. You know,
yeah,
he needs some time off.
he does. And he's a proven player. He's a good player. I really just
Yeah, that's
think
what I'm saying. Like a
I think
player
he's
like
in his own
him,
head, and I think he's gonna get out of the funk.
he's always wanted to play at Duke. He's finally here. He's probably he's a really good player. Like he's a great player.
Yeah,
Like he
but I
does a
think
lot of good stuff.
he also benefited a lot off of playing with Zach Edey.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? So everything he got was super wide open. You know what I'm saying? Just due to, you know what I'm saying, the gravity that Zach Edey had. They had to put five
Sure.
guys on Zach Edey and the fucking coach. You know what I mean? So it was one of those things where it was like shooting fish in a barrel for him. You know,
yeah.
now
Even
Are you
now with his
saying the
open
shots right
shots,
now? Go ahead, Jeff.
oh, go ahead.
even his open shots right now aren't really falling
Yeah,
very
Yeah,
well.
that's what I'm saying. Like they're
That's
not
what I'm
going
I
in.
feel
concerned
like he's
about.
out of
He's
rhythm.
hitting open
I feel like
shots.
he's
Yeah,
definitely out of
that's
rhythm.
exactly Pablo. He's out of rhythm.
Like he's definitely out of rhythm because I think it's due to, you know what I'm saying, when he's getting put in the game and his time in the game is not the same as it was in Purdue. You know what I mean? He could miss a couple shots at Purdue, but he knew he's going to be in for a 10, 15-minute stretch straight that he's going to get more shots. So he's going to hit eventually. You know what I mean? Now it's like he's coming in the game. You might play 2 minutes. You're going to sit out and you might not play until the second half. You know what I mean? So he's kind of all pause. He's kind of in his own head. You know what I'm saying? So pause. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like
I agree.
I don't know. I think that might be one of those situations where you know, he's just overthinking it a little bit.
Well, again, and you know, the stick with Mason Gillis here. Like I think that you said early on, right, that every team needs a Mason Gillis,
Yeah, for
Very
sure.
true.
right? So, look, Mason Gillis just has to get back to being Mason Gillis,
Yeah,
and I
for
think
sure.
that this time off may help him out a little bit. You know what I mean? Where it may be an opportunity for him to say, okay, look. Okay, we got through the blitzkrieg there at the beginning where we played, 4 or 5 teams that are really elite. One on the road in the ACC against a solid Louisville team, and now it's the time for us to reset the batteries. We got a cupcake against George Mason coming off a long, exam break, that kind of thing, and then we'll go back to Georgia Tech on the road, another ACC road game. And that's not to be taken lightly either. Like, I know that whenever the record's on, it is what it is. But you know, an ACC road game, even in a down year, which it is, let's call a spade a spade. That's going to be a tough game. So I think that for Mason Gillis, this is a good time off, and I think for a couple players, it's a good time off. I think it might be also for Caleb Foster. I think it also might be for a guy like Khan, where Khan hasn't been shooting as well as he is capable of. And again, that's why I keep going back to the Arizona State game, Jack. That
Yeah.
like I think that we got a little spoiled because we see now, or we saw then, like what this team's capable of, and everybody's waiting for it.
Yeah, I mean, we're just waiting for it to come back. I can't say I'm not. I don't really know. I don't really know what else there is to say other than that. It's tough, but we know what this team is capable of, and I think every single one of us is just excited for them to get back onto it after this little break they've had. And they're gonna have another break too, following the 2 games this week.
Gonna be
So
what, a
in between
10-day break, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
It's gonna be good for them to get
this
some
past
practice
week they've
time
been
in.
off, yeah.
Not only that,
It'll be
but
good.
like get back to wherever they want to go to. Whether it's home for a day or two. Alshon and Tyrese probably like people can get home and spend some time with family, get away from everything. And that's one of the things Coach K always liked to do is let these guys get back home, spend time with family, and I think that's crucial because
Yeah,
it is grind. It's not just like the season, right? It's the summer. Like you're here
for
all
sure.
summer. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Pops.
Yeah. No, they probably been on the road and probably need a shot of ass and everything. So they go home, get their little girlfriends, and they might come back dropping 30. You know what I'm saying? You never know, bro. Shit. It might help them
I
out.
have no
You know what I'm
comment
saying?
on this matter.
All
Yeah.
right.
I'm just
Okay. All
saying,
right.
you know what I mean?
Hey,
But
whatever. I mean, you're probably right. Um, the one thing I will say is, Khaman. So Jack brought that up. Jack, Khaman honestly won 6 for 7, 22 minutes. Probably should have been 7 for 7 if we're all being honest.
Yeah.
Um, is that something to take away from that, or is it just the opponent?
We talked about this in the preview. I think it is one of the few positives you can take away from that because he got he got going. Like the rest of the team didn't show up offensively. He did. That's a good sign for him. I hope that he can continue to get himself going while everyone else does too.
Come on, come on, Pops, come on.
I mean, I'm not gonna say nothing. No, I'm just letting Jack rock. Hey, that whole shit you said was crazy, but I mean, it's all good. You know what I'm
In
saying?
basketball terms, tell me I'm wrong though.
No, I mean, all pause. I definitely agree with what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? I think that, and the thing I like about it too, though, is that I appreciate what John Shire. I think he was very intentional on what he was doing, trying to, what I mean, pause, trying to get him going. You know what I mean? I think that was very intentional in what he was doing, and I think that should continue. I mean, I think that definitely should continue because it's gonna it's gonna do a number of things for Duke. You know what I'm saying, on the offensive end, and you know what I mean, and it's just gonna help him overall. He's gonna open up the game a lot more. Guys are gonna get a lot more open shots. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if you guys noticed, but Khaman is a pretty good passer out of the double team, and when he
He
catches
is.
the
He
ball on
is.
the fly, he does a great job of passing the ball out of that shit. Even on a pick and roll where he's rolling, he's catching. He's got to make a quick read or shoot real quick. He's always making the right read. So, I'm liking what I see John doing, and that's just telling me that John is just adapting, man. And it's still early as hell in the season, so I appreciate him, making these adjustments, and they seem to be working so far. So we gonna rock with John, bro, all day.
I think the other thing that I'd like to continue to harp on is that Khaman, yes, they kind of went to him there, but he only got 7 shots, right? It's not like he got a ton of shots. But that might be what this Duke team needs, and they don't need to continue to throw the ball, into the post and do that sort of thing. But just to keep it honest, keep the defense honest.
Yeah,
And so that's why I liked what he did. And I agree with you, Bobs, where like John is consistently tinkering, and he's not really calling plays. He's just kind of like rolling the ball out there and being like, okay, make sure we do these things, but let me see what I have out there. And so I think that was good. The other side of that was, I do want to ask you this, both of you guys, that I did notice a little bit, not a ton. I'm not trying to throw shade or anything like that, but I want to throw this out there to the group that I did notice a little bit that when Khaman is not being really involved in the offense, he does tend to slouch a little bit. And that's a freshman. He's 17, 18 years old. That's okay. It's not a negative. It's something you got to learn from. But that's something that I'd like to see kind of rectified going forward, because that's not someone that I thought would do that. But again, human nature is what it is. human nature is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So let's call that a spade, and be like, okay, does John notice that too? Does the coaching staff notice that too? I'm sure that they do, and that's why they are being like, okay, we got to make sure that we have the guy that is 7'2" running up and down the floor, a guy that we're asking to defend the rim and do all these things. Like, we want to make sure that he gets his touches as well.
Yeah, yeah. So what I'm noticing, I think you might see a little. You are seeing a little bit of that, but I think you're seeing that more so when he's making a mistake more than anything. I think I'm seeing that more like if he turns the ball over or if he misses a defensive assignment, you kind of see that a little bit. But I think Khaman has a very short memory, man. I think he always is able to get back into it really quick and continue into continuous play. You know what I'm saying? Especially on the defensive end. So yeah. How you feel, Jack?
I mean, I agree with you on the short memory piece. I think I mean, there's a lot to say there, but I think I'm gonna try to sum it up. My thoughts, which are, it is clear that he is a little flustered when he's not directly involved, but he is short. He has a short memory. He's gonna continually, like, his being flustered isn't that big of a, like, it's not having that big of an impact on him. And again, I think John is communicating to him that he's going to have more involvement as the season goes on, but like at this point, you don't want to completely show your hand offensively at this point in the season. And he obviously can be a really effective piece of the offense, and John doesn't want to show that. Like, AC's been harping on that all season, especially as he's struggled a little bit to score. This is a guy who's going to have a very big impact on this team as, crunch time, end of the year, into March. This guy's offense is going to be there.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the comparisons have always been to Mark Williams and Derek Lively. I think those are fair. I mean,
When did they become like
exactly,
valuable
that's
players?
exactly
February.
exactly, and I think that Khaman is actually ahead of schedule. So
Yes.
especially if you compare him to Mark Williams, like he's definitely ahead of schedule. So that is that. The last thing I'll do before we get to the previews is bring up Isaiah Evans. Isaiah, caught fire in the second half. Just continues to be the microwave, effect. Like fans see shots go in, and that is the easy thing to see, of course. Uh, I will absolutely say that he needs to play minutes in every single game, in both halves, no question. I get why John did what he did against Auburn. I think that it makes a little bit of sense. Could I have seen him play a little bit more at the beginning of Auburn in the second half? Yes. But at the end of the day, I get it. And I also get Connor Knippel. And I want to talk about both of these players. I think there are two totally different players, and the people that are out there trying to be like, oh, Con needs to come out for Isaiah. Like, no. Like, watch basketball. Like just take a deep breath and understand why both of these players are on the court. And so I want to break that one down real quick. Just again, I know we've already done it, but I want to do it again because I think people need to hear it. Hobbs, break it down for the people. Isaiah Evans, Con Knippel, why both should be on the court, and why one may get on the court a little bit more during, specific moments in the game.
It's really simple, you know what I'm saying? You got one guy that's an elite scoring threat and a playmaker, and you got another guy that's a elite scoring threat. You know what I'm saying? Not so much a playmaker. Con Knippel does a little bit more things on offense as far as getting everybody else involved and, setting everything else up on the offense and, just being able to make the offense run a little bit more smooth in certain situations as to where Isaiah is coming in to light your ass up. And that's just it. He's coming in to put points on the board. He's coming in to make a difference. He's coming in to be that spark. As to, like I was saying, Con is there. He's in the starting lineup, and he's there to make plays for others. He's there to be a threat. Just him being on the floor in general, with just his gravity They don't want him to get any open shots, even though he's not hitting like that. They don't want him to shoot open shots. So everybody's trying to run him off the line, and it's stretching the defense out. You know what I'm saying? And he's able to, you know what I'm saying, make other things happen. So, I mean, it's obvious, you know what I mean? You see him dropping dimes, and, his assisted turnover ratio is really good. So it's like, it's a no-brainer. But, for the casual fan that's just watching basketball, they're like, oh, he's missing shots. He should come out the game. But can you break down what he's doing other than missing shots? Yeah, we know he's missing, but what else is he doing, though? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's doing other things on the floor. And people just, honestly, people are just stupid sometimes. They just don't see it. You know what I'm saying? They just don't see it because they don't want to see it. You know what I mean? And a lot of times they don't see it because they don't know what the fuck they're looking at. You know what I'm saying? I take a Knipple on an off night, still facilitating over a lot of players in NCAA, period. You know what I'm saying? And just like I would take a absolute on fire Isaiah over a lot of these other guys that, you know what I'm saying, that score. So, it's just one of those things, man, that it's just going to be a back and forth thing. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see both of those guys on the floor at the same time with the starting unit, and really, really, really put pressure on the defense. And I believe they did that a lot against Auburn. And you saw,
Yeah, so especially in the first half, where Isaiah started hitting, and then John inserted Khan, and then at that point it was like pick your poison, because to your point earlier, it was you can't leave Khan even if he's not hitting. You don't want to take that chance because Khan's one of those guys. Luke Kennard, JJ Redick, one of those type of players where like you don't want him to catch fire because once a guy like him sees one go in, it's over for you.
Yeah.
And now you have two guys that are hitting between him and Evans. He's kind of like the JJ Redick and Daniel Ewing. Like you don't want that to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're a coach.
For sure.
But go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying it all year. He provides value even when the ball's not going in the hoop. He was 0 for 7 from deep against Kansas with 11 points and 8 assists. This dude provides value. Like, you can't tell me that 8 assists. This is a freshman. Yes, this is a freshman. And he's providing super good value even when he's not scoring. Not to mention the fact that these teams are so scared of him scoring, like Pablo said, that they are face guarding him all night. He could shoot no shots and still have an impact on the offensive end because of his playmaking ability and because this dude requires defensive attention no matter what. You just have him sit in the corner on the opposite side of where the play is developing. I've talked about this a couple episodes now.
Yeah.
You just have him sit in the corner opposite side from where the play is developing, and boom, you have someone taken out of the equation. And if Khan's guy helps, you throw the ball over to him, and you have an open shooter.
Yep. I concur.
Thank you, Pablo.
But yeah, I mean, this is kind of simple stuff. Like, if you just open your mind to it a little bit, that's all we're saying, that you understand why he's on the court. And does that mean that Isaiah can't play more minutes? Absolutely not. We're not saying that. What we're saying is that there's a lot of opportunity for both of them to play together. And it will only open up the court a little bit more if they do. And by the way, if both of them are hitting, game's over, and probably like if both of those guys are hitting, it's over because now every lane opens up, and you can drive. You can throw those lobs to the Khaman, to Cooper, everything.
Yeah.
So, by the way, that will happen. Like,
yes.
We always talk about the freshman wall. Maybe this is Khan's freshman wall. Maybe this Khan's freshman wall, and it's a little earlier than some others. But I went back at Brandon Ingram. Ironically, everybody compares him to Slim, but Brandon Ingram hit an early freshman wall. Maybe this is Khan's early freshman wall. So maybe that's it. And Khan is a much better playmaker than Brandon Ingram ever was. So, maybe that's just what it is. And he's trying to figure this stuff out. So once all these things figure out, and we threw out Cooper Flagg, who's a phenomenal playmaker, this team's going to be really good. Okay, so we got two games to cover here. The first is against George Mason. Jack, AC's not here, so he knows everything about George Mason. That's why he's not here. He's not here because he don't want to talk about George
He's
Mason.
ducking.
The Patriots. We're coming off of a lull here, a long stretch. So kind of break this game down for us and or just give us a prediction. I don't care.
I mean, this is a team that shoots something like 21 threes a game. They put up 78 points a game, 79 points just about, but they shoot at about 33.8% from deep. I said about instead of the exact number, whatever. They shoot a little under 34% from three, like I said. They turn the ball over about 13 and a half times a game. It's a team. They have four guys in double figures. They only play one guy who's taller than 6'9" though. 6'11" guy whose name I cannot pronounce. His first name is Giovanni. I cannot pronounce his last name. He averages about 10 points and 5 rebounds. He's 6'11". Everyone else is 6'9" or shorter. It's an interesting team makeup. But again, I think Duke has obviously superior talent, and I think Duke has a very good height advantage, obviously. But this is a good defensive team. I want to put that out there. Just make sure everyone understands. They average about
They're quick and
they're scrappy. 7 steals, 7.5 steals, 2.5 blocks. But even though those numbers together, like 10 stocks per game, that's kind of on the lower side for what you would expect out of a team Duke's playing. But they have like a top, I think they have the number 80 defense in the country. Like this game is not going to be a joke, and there will be stretches where Duke struggles. I just want to make sure people know that. That being said, I think Duke's going to win probably like 81 to 57.
All right, Pop, what do you got on that?
First and foremost, fuck George Mason. But that's neither here nor there. So I got Duke winning the game pretty comfortably. Just like Jack said, it's always the game. Basketball is a game of momentum, man. Like everybody, both teams are gonna get momentum. That team they're gonna get hot. We're gonna extinguish. We're gonna shut their water off. We're a good team. We're a good defensive team for a reason. So our talent will shine through. I think we win 85 to 71.
Ooh, wow. Okay, that's a little higher than I thought.
Yeah.
So one thing that we really didn't touch on in the Incarnate Word game is the fact that we defensively were phenomenal. Because that's what we are. We're
Yes.
phenomenal defensively. And we're going to do that again. So maybe we don't score that many points, but defensively we're going to be fantastic. So yeah, give me 81 to 49. I just think that we're going to defensively shut them down because even if our offense doesn't click right away, 81 might be high, but 49 I think is about right. So because I think our defense, I'm looking 10 that our defense is better than anybody. So I'll live with that. All right, Jack, though, the big game, though, is Saturday at Georgia Tech. What do we got there?
Well, the game at Georgia Tech last season did not go so well.
Well, also, Tyrese Proctor got hurt in the first 2 minutes.
Exactly. I think that Tyrese Proctor is not going to get hurt in the first 2 minutes of the game this year. That's one of my predictions. Let's see. So I'm looking at their stats now. They're 75 points a game. They shoot below 32% from three, about 31.5%, about 42% from the field. They are not a good team. They are a much less good team than they were last year. Dikembe Mutombo's kid transferred there.
R.I.P.
He, rest in peace to a legend. He's only played one game. It was yesterday, though. 15 against Northwestern. He played 22 minutes. I'm not sure if that was an injury or if that was a depth thing, but
They should have beaten Carolina, by the way. I watched that game.
Yeah, you're right. They should have.
I watched that entire game. Like they should have beaten them.
Lance Terry is their leading scorer at
Yeah.
15.5 a
Solid
game.
player.
He shoots 38% from three. He's a good player.
How much do Nathan George average?
10. And he's shooting 32.7% from deep.
Yeah, he's nice.
36% from the field. He's got just about 6 assists a game. They have Bay Dongo. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, him.
Yeah, he's their best guy.
He was a pretty big impact player in the 2 games last year that Duke played against Georgia Tech. He's 12.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, 53% from the floor. They have Javian McCollum's a good player.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see because, like I said, this team is not as good as last year's team. They run a similar offense, but that doesn't mean they're good.
Yeah.
I really think Duke. I'm not going to say Duke's going to run them out of their own gym, but I think like 78-71. That might be a little too close still, but that's my guess.
What do you got?
Yeah, so Georgia Tech is always dangerous, and they're dangerous because they have a little bit of talent, and not just that, but they have Damon Stoudemire as a coach who's an excellent
fantastic
coach. Excellent offensive coach, and on defense too. And Georgia Tech is going to middle ball screen you to death all game. They're going to run a middle ball screen. They're going to put shooters in the corner, and they're going to try to make plays based off of that. It's going to be high ball screen in the middle of the floor with Nathan George and fucking Ndongo. He's going to roll. He's going to look to pass or finish. You know what I'm saying? He's going to look to pass to the strong side corners. Hopefully the Duke, when they double down on him, they can recover to the corners and close out on these shooters. But I think we win, but I think it is going to be a lot more difficult than we think it is. So I say we win 75-55, 20-point game. I think it's going to be difficult. But I mean, I think we got the talent to do it, man. And not only that, I think the last time I checked the Duke's X-rays and they had some dog in them. You know what I mean? So I think we're going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what we were missing last year. You know what I'm saying? I think we had a dog, you know what I'm saying? But I think we got some motherfucking pit bulls this year. You know what I'm saying? That just want to get let off the leash. And, hey, Georgia Tech, good luck.
Hey, Yellow Jackets don't do well in winter. I understand that very well. I will say that I think that Pog makes some good points. That one thing I look to this game is we get a kind of an easy game in George Mason, kind of knock the rust off a little bit, and then we come out there and we go to Georgia Tech, and we say, you know what, this is our last game for 10 days. We're just going to throw it all out there, play well, set the world on notice. Georgia Tech's going to be tough. They're going to be tough. But I think we'll win 79. Jack, cue me up, 69.
Nice.
Thank you very much. But yeah, no, I think 79-69 is the right score for that game. Either way, though, hey, look, it's the low season for Duke. It's we only got 3 games in 20 days, something like that. So here we go. Whatever you guys celebrate, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever. Make sure you all tune into the 5 Point Play podcast. Join our Discord. We got phenomenal things all the time.
Go Duke, baby. Let's go Duke.
We got recruiting intel there. You want to join for that? Patreon, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Jack, close us out. Let's go Duke.
Hey guys, go Duke. Thank you so much for checking us out. 5 Point Play podcast. Like, comment, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to check us out on Instagram, Twitter. We're on Blue Sky now. We got a Patreon, of course. Everywhere you go, search up 5 Point Play podcast. And you know what it is, guys. Let's go Duke!
Let's go Duke.
Let's go Duke.